Lately, I've been thinking a lot about Shabbat. There's something about the practice of what feels like pulling the emergency brake, the spiritual, culinary, communal emergency brake, that appeals to me right now. Maybe it's because I've slowly been on my own journey into Judaism, trying to find my place as someone who feels the pull but wasn't raised with the rituals or religious background. I feel that pull, but I'm actually not sure what it's pulling me to. To the dinner table? To synagogue? But I know that I've been feeling a little burnt out, a little separated from my world, and maybe a little ready for a dinner party. And that's what I want to explore in this show, Shabbat Dinner Party. I want to ask questions about Shabbat, delving a little deeper into its religious and spiritual roots, but I also kind of want to try it on for size. It's a ritual I don't know super well, but have an unending curiosity about. I want to know if there's a Shabbat practice that's right for me. Maybe it's the right dinner, the right services, the right way to slow down. But I'm not taking it all at once. When I think about that nice 25-hour stretch between sundown Friday and Saturday evening, I think what I'm really drawn to is the beginning piece. The Shabbat dinner that forces a stop to the week and kicks off the weekly tradition. That's why we're calling this Shabbat Dinner Party. First, because I'm focused primarily on dinner and everything that surrounds dinner, the guests we invite into our home, the way we nourish ourselves, and what Judaism says about food. But second, because I want this to be a party. In this podcast, I'm leaving everything I thought I knew about Shabbat over there at the doorstep, and I'm experimenting a little bit. I'm trying to leave every preconceived notion behind and have some fun. In this 5-episode series, you'll hear from people who spend a lot of time thinking about what to put on the table, people who think hard about what Shabbat means to them, and people who'd honestly just be killer dinner guests. If that's your thing, I want you to join me on this experimental auditory journey through Shabbat dinner. This is my dinner party, and you're the guest. So if you've ever been curious about maybe how to slow down and be more intentional in this fast-paced digital world, or how to find a spiritual center, or even just how to have a good dinner party, I want you at this table. So that's Shabbat Dinner Party, an exploration of a Shabbat dinner from setting the intention, to making the dinner, to the dinner conversation, and finally to dessert, all with audio. Oh, and by the way, that's intentional too. From Judaism Unbound, this is Shabbat Dinner Party. I'm your host, Kate Mishkin. Shabbat Shalom. So I have all these questions about where I am in my life right now, and also where Shabbat plays in. So I want to introduce you to a friend who's going to help me on this journey.
I'm Neil Spears. I'm an educator. I grew up in a mixed heritage family. I love being Jewish. For me, I love being part of a tradition that helps me get through the highest highs of my life and gives me a script for how to do that, and also gives me a script for how to get through my lowest lows. I love being part of a history and a tradition and an ancestry of people who have struggled with some of the same core questions that I have today. Why do bad things happen to me? Why is the world on fire? What's my responsibility to fix and what's not? How do I get through every single day? When I'm really sad, how do I process that? When I'm really happy, how do I celebrate that? Yeah. Judaism has answers to all of these questions, and I love it.
Neil's going to be my tour guide through these meals, helping me answer some practical and religious questions about the Sabbath. If I'm your dinner host, Neil owns the restaurant, and he's full of wisdom on how to make Shabbat meaningful. Neil brings the intellectual appetizer. And I have so many questions for you, and I so appreciate you sitting down with me to answer some of my big questions about Shabbat.
It's my pleasure, Kate.
All right, let's get into it.
Great.
So I'm talking to you because I have this deep curiosity about Shabbat and all things Shabbat, including loneliness, rest, what it means to be in community, stopping, pushing oneself, and you have answers.
I have some perspective.
You have perspective.
Yeah.
Because I think you you do this, you live this, right?
Yeah.
This is part of your life.
Yeah, this is part of my life.
What's your relationship with Shabbat?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, my relationship with Shabbat has changed over time.
Okay.
When I, was little, growing up, I grew up in a mixed heritage house. My mom was Christian. My dad was Jewish. They were raising me and my sister as Jews. We had a Shabbat practice that looked like Friday night dinner, all together at the table with a white tablecloth.
Oh.
We lit the candles, said the prayer over the wine, and Shabbat had a smell growing up.
Really?
It was the smell of bread baking in the bread machine.
Wow.
My mom would bake challah, right, the traditional bread.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'd get braided, sometimes it'd just come out of the bread machine. But Shabbat had a smell and a regularity and a reliability. That was Shabbat growing up. And you didn't miss Shabbat, right? I was a band nerd in high school.
Okay.
Friday night football games.
Yeah.
Even if I couldn't stay for dinner, you stay, we light the candles, we say the blessings, then I could go to the football game.
Wow.
So that was my lived experience as a kid. But there was also this other part of me that felt like, well, wait, I drive a car on Shabbat, right? We didn't have cell phones back then, but today, right? Like, what if I use my cell phone on Shabbat? Yeah. What does that mean for me? Can I have a legitimate Shabbat if I'm not following all of the little rules that the most observant Jews follow on Shabbat? Right. And Shabbat has changed over the course of my life. And honestly, Shabbat has changed over the course of Jewish life, over the course of Jewish history. So if you go back and look at like the roots of Shabbat, right? In Genesis, the story of creation, God took 6 days and created the world. And then on the seventh day, God rested. That was the first Shabbat, right? That's the original, that's the OG Shabbat.
Yeah.
Then you go to the story of the Exodus and the Hebrews leaving enslavement and ending up in the desert, wandering. Part of Shabbat in the desert was picking up extra manna, this magical food-like substance, on Friday night for Shabbat because you didn't pick up the manna on Shabbat.
Wow.
Yeah. Then in temple times, when the temple existed in Jerusalem, Shabbat and Jewish observance in general revolved a lot about sacrifices, right? How do we relate to God? Part of the way we relate to God is sacrifices. We don't do that anymore, but that's part of Jewish history. That's part of Jewish tradition. And on Shabbat, there were special sacrifices that you'd bring to the priests who would offer them up, and that was part of Shabbat. So you had this sort of like priest intermediary on Shabbat.
Interesting. Okay, I'm jumping in here because when you think about it, it's kind of mind-boggling that we started as a Shabbat where we make sacrifices on an altar with priests in a central temple to Friday night dinner with candles and putting our iPhones away. That is to say, when the temple was destroyed in 70 CE and there was no place to bring our sacrifices, that's when we started a home-based Judaism and why Shabbat started to become about the evening meal.
And now today, we have something more akin to the Shabbat of my childhood, right? Maybe a dinner, maybe getting together with family, maybe going to synagogue, maybe refraining from certain activities, maybe adding in some new activities. My point is that Shabbat practice can look different because it always has looked different. And the pressure that I think some of us feel, and maybe you feel, I don't want to put words in your mouth, to like get it right.
Yeah.
We can let some of that go.
Because it's changed and because it's always changing.
It's changed, it's always changing.
Neil, I'm going to go off to dinner and I am going to come back and tell you what I learned later, okay?
Awesome.
All right.
Enjoy dinner. Sounds good.
I'll return back to Neil over the next few episodes. But for now, I'm headed on a train to Brooklyn on one of the coldest days on record. It's time to put on an apron and start cooking.
Oh my gosh, we are doing like I'd call this a classic, Shabbat classic.
Classic Ashkenazi. I'm Liz Alpern. I'm here in Brooklyn, New York, co-founder of the Gefilteria, co-author of the Gefilte Manifesto, New Recipes for Old World Jewish Foods, a person who loves to host.
I'm Jeffrey Yoskowitz here in Brooklyn, New York, in my apartment, actually. And I am a co-founder of the Gefilteria, co-author of the Gefilte Manifesto, person who's been thinking about food, traditions, culture, Jewish food for almost 2 decades now.
They specialize in bringing a fresh take on traditional Ashkenazi cuisine, the food their ancestors, and mine too, would have made. Jeffrey and Liz are preparing our Shabbat meal for us throughout the series. Each episode will slowly cook and assemble that meal. They'll take us through a little culinary wisdom, a little history, and a little reflection on what it means to observe Shabbat. So we're starting the very involved process of cooking matzo ball soup, the Jewish chicken soup for the soul with a giant ball of matzah meal. Reminds me of a Jewish deli my dad used to take us as kids in LA. Nowadays, it's actually my go-to. I will take any opportunity I have to order matzo ball soup. But as Jeffrey and Liz noted, it's actually not even that customary for a Friday.
So we're doing like the comfort foods, the matzo ball soup, which is like, to be honest, like, it's rare that I like have it all together to make a matzo ball soup for a Shabbat.
Oh my God. No. Oh, I never would make
That's like a Passover, Rosh Hashanah. Like, I got time.
You're gonna be cooking all day, like, if you really get organized, make it the night before. But I would not almost ever serve a matzo ball soup on a Friday. I'd love to.
I feel like maybe at some point when I was like maybe younger and performing, like, I gotta do like the most perfect. It's like, the reality is if you like we have like Shabbat, like you want to be chill. It's like, I don't know. It's, especially if you're like working on Friday, you only have like a few hours. Maybe you're doing some prep, but like it's kind of wild. It's almost too much to try to do, like to make a giant thing and it's gonna be this perfect meal. It's very different. Like, I don't know, it's different, maybe different stages of your life, but when you got a lot going on, like, no, you're just gonna put together a few nice things, like you're having friends over.
If I'm doing dinner on a Friday night, I'm also definitely asking people to contribute. There's no way I can, and like for a Friday night, there's a 0% chance that I could make everything. It's just not gonna happen.
Great, and the other thing is that we do like to make things the old-fashioned way. So we are making, like, maybe for other people, making matzo balls would be easier because they just make it from a box, but we're actually just making it from matzah. We're making our own matzah meal. And one of the things, Liz and I have been cooking together for a long time, and one of the things that we started doing when we, was like really making foods the way that they're meant to be made. And my favorite thing to do is I'd make matzo ball soup with the liquid from the matzo ball, like I call it the matzo ball water. And then you're getting all that fat and salt going into the soup, and you're just making this incredible, But like this is, we call this kind of our shtetl cooking approach. It's like these are some of the ways that where these foods thrive is being made from scratch. So like Liz is working with the chicken here. We're gonna take that fat and those skins, we're gonna render them down to use that schmaltz, the chicken fat, which is the essence of flavor. So, so much of why I think. A lot of these classic foods people associate, they don't maybe have the best associations, is that they've been kind of Americanized, cheapened, and all that. So it's but it's also kind of really fun to kind of get into like what it actually is to make a matzo ball, to make this beautiful rich broth that we're making.
But I think it's really important to say that this is like an aspirational version of this, particularly on a Friday night. Meaning it's not realistic to expect a person who's working full time to do this. And we, like, in saying that, like, this is the way it's meant to be, it's like, right, this is the traditional way it's made, but it's not like if you don't do it this way, you're doing it wrong, So it's like, I think the matzo ball mix is like shockingly good for what it is. So, non-judgmentally, we like to do all of it, do the most, you know what I mean? But you don't have to do the most to make it satisfying. But that's also why you don't have to make matzo ball soup for Shabbat dinner. The dream is that you have some combination of like something you really put your heart and soul into that feels really good and that you put the time into. And like, the rest of the meal can kind of rotate around that. Like Jeffrey's saying, like it doesn't need to be stressful. And, it doesn't have to be a perfectly traditional multi-course meal to feel like to feel good.
I'm generally a pretty terrible cook, mostly because I get distracted easily. But I liked watching Jeffrey and Liz cook with such intention. It takes so much care to make something I could order in 20 seconds at a deli counter. But I like it that way. I like to think of their process as a way of slowly extracting myself from the week and slowing down, forcing myself to pay attention to what's on the stovetop. I would love to spend a few hours on a Friday evening cooking and then opening my house to people who can enjoy it with me. Next up, I'm bringing out the nice tablecloth and setting my table for my dinner guest this week. Mike Liebenson is a comedian, writer, actor, and generally hilarious person based in LA. And I knew about him mostly because of his comedy and his appearance on another Jewish podcast a few years back. As I learned, we have a lot in common. We're both kind of searching for Jewish meaning. We don't have all the tools, but we do have our respective art. For Mike, it's comedy. For me, it's writing and reporting. If meals are spiritual appetizer and Jeffrey and Liz are our meal prep, my conversation with Mike is our main course. Mike, welcome to Shabbat Dinner Party.
Shabbat Shalom. And remind me where you're from.
From Chicago. I'm from Chicago. I'm from Glencoe in particular, which is a very Jewish suburb of Chicago. It famously is where all the Jews moved in the North Shore when they weren't allowed to live in other places in like the 50s. 60s, that era, of course. So like I grew up going to like 3 bar and bat mitzvahs a weekend. It was that vibe.
So we have a similar experience. So I grew up here in LA where I also went to like 3 bat mitzvahs a weekend. And I feel like I came away with, I don't know, a little bit of a complex.
What was your complex?
That I wasn't Jewish enough. I didn't have a bat mitzvah.
Oh my God. Okay, so we can relate. Yeah, because I didn't have a bar mitzvah either, or a b'nai mitzvah. I'm a twin, so we didn't have one. Okay, so I was raised like culturally Jewish. Like I did all the high holidays, all of the traditions, but very reformed, very relaxed.
It is interesting to me that the people that I know who did have their bar mitzvah, they went through it. They went through the motions. They didn't really care for it. Obviously, they had a great party, and that's.
I was going to say, that's
enviable.
I'm sure that's what you were jealous of too.
Yeah, I too wanted a party. So people have their party, it's wonderful. But then they really stopped going to Hebrew school.
I do ultimately think, I don't know how you think about, I don't know if you want kids or if you think about how you would raise your children or any of that. But like, you know, I obviously have complex feelings about organized religion to begin with. But I do think a practice of tradition, a practice of routine and rhythm, I think was, as much as and even just like subtle discipline in that way. Mm-hmm. All my friends who went to Hebrew school, I was jealous of too, because that also sounded fun. And there was this just deeply rich, connective, I think, social background and exchange that they were already getting with each other that I kind of felt excluded from.
Yeah.
Like I view myself as a spiritual person. I don't necessarily have I don't have a certain creed. I don't have a certain practice. Mm-hmm. I don't even have like certain words I always like stick to, but like I feel spiritual. I feel connected to things, especially, honestly, this is cheesy. When I perform, that is like when I feel connected to like a source. That is when I feel like I am like exchanging some sort of energy with a higher being.
Break that down for me. So what is that? What kind of performing, first of all? Like, please set the scene.
So this is honestly, I think it goes all the way back to musical theater. That's where it started for me. Theater in general. Mm-hmm. I think the greatest thing in the world for me is making someone smile and making someone laugh. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like that Holy Spirit, for lack of a better word, like a Holy Spirit that you feel through you. Like this this vessel for something bigger than you. I no longer me delivering jokes. I know this sounds so crazy because it's like I'm singing a song about me having to pee, or I pee myself as a Lyft driver. That was one of my songs.
Everybody has that one friend who whips their credit card out when the meal ends. She says it's way too hard to split it 7 ways so we can put it all on that chase.
I say that, but it's like, it's true, but it's like that's why it feels religious to me. It's like I get to go up there and I get to connect to something and be this vessel that feels like I'm a channel. A channel, that's maybe a good word. Like I feel like a current. Current, I like that word. Current running through me.
Yeah. And is that from higher power to audience? Where are the two channels connecting?
Yeah, from up to out to them. Because that is what it is ultimately. It's like, I know I'm here and I'm there. I'm here on this earth and I'm there on that stage to give to them. Like that's, and I know that feels so crazy. It's like you do it for yourself, of course, from your own wounds of needing attention or working through things, whatever, as you grow up.
Sure.
I feel like all performers have a certain sense of woundedness or, primal need to get validated, get that exchange through performance. But at the same time, I also feel like this is a service. This is the service I can give to other people that I know I can do. And that's when it feels, when I can get out of my head, I can allow that current to sort of flow through me, which is, once again, it's just that, it's the simplicity of like, it's the same song I've done, I'm like 20, 30 times, but I made new choices. I, for some reason, looked at that person and, you know, moved my hand like this instead of just planting firm. Or like the second song I did, I made all of these new choices that just felt right from me, my own intuition connecting with this audience. Like, I don't know what moved me to do it, but it did it.
That's really beautiful.
God, yeah, I hope so.
No, because I know what that feels. I know what it feels like. I don't get it from the same thing you get it, but I get it. It feels spiritual when you, especially when there's like a creative or a professional gratification to it, I think.
Well, I think that's why people say vocation. I think it's like when it feels like when it feels like a higher purpose. I think, and that can be a million different things for a million different people.
Yeah.
And that's why I would never argue with someone who's like, no, I can't get on stage, I'm too nervous. I'm like, yeah, you might be. That might not be where you're able to connect with whatever that source might be for you, whatever word, whatever label you want to use. But like, for me, I know that is one of the few places that is like it's an outlet for me to channel the current through.
Yeah.
To practice that some sort of release, that exchange between what is above and what's here.
Right. And I mean, it makes I feel like the thing I keep coming back to time and time again when I, do a lot of this work is just that like, we want to feel connected to other people. Like, that's kind of what this is all about, is that we want to feel seen. We want to feel we're in community. And like, that feels like you are, especially you're seen. You're seen by this audience, and people get you.
Yeah, and that's also why I really love like the Jewish part of my identity, because I still crave doing all of the high holidays with my friends. Used to be with my families, but I used to look forward to that so much. That just that simplicity and like getting together, following the same tradition that my dad did with his grandparents and that they did with their grandparents. And like, yeah, I guess I feel a lot more connected to what those also like symbolize, what they stand for, versus I guess the like other Christian, more Western holidays I also have celebrated. Yeah. I also have complexities around, I never went to Hebrew school. I don't read Hebrew. I don't really speak Hebrew. I know very few of the sayings, I know some of the songs, of course, but like, I think that's where I don't even want to say shame, but like insecurities come out, where it's like, I love to participate. I feel like whenever I'm at these dinners, these services, a Shabbat dinner, whatever it may be, I feel like a personality hire. Like, I'm always there. I'm always down for whatever, but like, I obviously am not the one to speak to any of the text or anything like that, because like, that's, I guess, not what it's really about for me, if that makes sense.
It totally makes sense. So, because I know it sounds very casual, but even to stand up and like explain to people what it's all about, like, I could not do that. I would feel very insecure doing that. I'm not equipped.
Honestly, I feel even safer with you saying that too. Because I think it's like, once again, it's like in certain environments, there are just, I think people are very proudly loud about their Judaism and, how much they know and how much they practice. And that isn't my connection to it. But it's still like, it is the thing I am most, like, truly, like, biologically, I am 50%, like, my dad's like 100% Latvian Jew, and I'm like 50% of that. And my mom's like a mix of a million things in Western Europe, So it's like, I do feel like that is like a true part of me.
Yeah.
Even though I don't look I get that all the time. It's like, I don't necessarily look Jewish as well, which...
you and I have a lot in common. I get the same thing.
I know. I was going to say, we really do. I can see the greenish eyes.
I'm also half Latvian Jew. So we also have that. Probably like many people. But I don't know. I was just at Sundance, and I was in line for this like Jewish film thing, and I'm standing in the line. This guy turns around and he says, like, in a very accusatory way, like, "Are you Jewish?" And I was just I had it because I've seen this too many times. And I was like, I really hate getting that question. And he's like, oh, you just can't be too sure nowadays. And it really bothered me. And I don't know why it's just gone more and more under my skin in the last couple of years.
What do you think that is? I mean, it is that weird thing though of like, are you Jewish enough?
Yeah.
What does that even mean? Like to be Jewish enough to count? I mean, there's that whole thing of, I don't know what side Jew you are, but I'm Jewish on my dad's side. So I get all the time.
I'm the same as you.
So you're not really Jewish.
Yeah. It's a little bit of insecurity. I think it's the same thing that I've been feeling since I went to all the bat mitzvahs that were not mine, which is like, okay, I think I'm the same as you, but like, why not me? Where's my latest party?
Yeah, why not? Exactly. Why not me? But I don't know if you're weirdly drawn as well to like being a part of a big Jewish family, but that is like something that is like by no means a requirement, but it's like if my partner were to be a part of a religious family, I definitely like fantasize about like, entering into a bigger, more Jewish family landscape and dynamic than my family.
So you kind of want to go in the other direction. You want something more.
I guess all the things that come with family, regardless, the obligations that come with any family dynamic. And I guess the one that feels the most fun, and I guess that would still feel connected to myself and my grandparents and that all of that is like, if I were to enter a more Jewish family subset, that could like bring me closer to understanding, my connection to Judaism. And I would probably, truth is, feel even more connected if my partner was connected to it and his family was connected to it. And I was like, excited to celebrate and participate and be a part of their traditions around it.
Totally.
It's so cheesy to be like, for me, like the religious experience is that exchange of humanity of like, I am this person, I am here in person physically, you're experiencing me, I'm experiencing you, and we are exchanging something. And that is, to me, that is the beauty, that is the spirit of being alive, to celebrate these traditions that have connected us for thousands of years at this point. But like, that's what it's about. And that's the excuse to get together, to gather, to meet new people, to have new conversations, to break bread, to eat latkes, to complain about certain things, like to laugh hysterically and uncontrollably, to drink too much Manischewitz or whatever you want to be drinking that night. Like, I don't know. Those are the religious moments to me.
I want to ask you about Shabbat though, because I feel like you are so skating on exactly like what drives me to Shabbat and like what I'm curious about. How do you feel about the practice of, I don't know, having dinner on Friday, slowing down on Friday, any of those things?
I love the idea of it. Once again, the most like non-Jewish version of this was like Pizza Friday at my house growing up. Like it was that like, and it's not Shabbat, it's none of those things. But once again, it's that same sort of rooted, simple idea of, hey, tonight is not about anything besides this tradition of gathering, being reminded of why we're here, that we're family, connected via pizza, via thin crust tavern style pizza, and watching a movie. And like, it would be as simple as that.
I think that's exactly right. You could take in some ways you could take the religion right out of it. And then also I feel like that is religion, is to connect with other people and to be seen. And at least that's what it's supposed to be.
I mean, that's what it is to me. And that's how I've been able to stay connected to it, is by not putting that pressure of it has to be this exact way. It's like, no, I think it can be a lot of different ways. And like, I have friends who are way more Jewish than me and friends who are even less Jewish than I am that are still Jewish. Like, you know what I mean? It's a spectrum. And I don't think how you choose to show up and how you celebrate it does not affect your identity in it. How are you celebrating right now?
I'm not. It's funny. This is a whole other thing. I'm doing everything but doing it. I'm making a podcast.
Sure. But you're also, I mean, you could do both, but also like this is hopefully encouraging people to connect with their own communities, their own people that they want to do this with. So in many ways, you're having dinner with a lot more people at once.
That's true. Yes. Well, thank you for coming to dinner with me. This is such a nice, I feel like I could just keep on talking to you, but
Same.
But thank you for coming out to Shabbat Dinner Party.
Oh my God. Thank you, Kate.
My guests are gone, and I'm doing the sonic version of washing the dishes, letting my mind wander, and thinking about what I just learned. And you know what my big takeaway of the Shabbat dinner party was? how there's actually no such thing as doing this right, no matter what external or internal voices tell you. I keep thinking about Neil's examples of how Shabbat has changed throughout the years because it's had to, and how Jeffrey and Liz basically rolled out the red carpet for me, making these perfect matzo balls, and then told me they actually never do this, even though it's baked in tradition. And Mike, who has a background so much like mine, and when I hear him talk about being an outsider, I just want to bring him in. And then I remember how I feel the exact same. We're all looking for connection, particularly to other people, like Mike noted. Maybe that's good enough. I think there's the Shabbat dinner of reality and the aspirational Shabbat, the one Jeffrey and Liz talked about that only happens every so often. We're allowed to have the aspirational Shabbat, but we're also allowed to have the one that's right here, where we are. Maybe it's a little imperfect. Maybe the hall is burnt. Your guests are an hour late and you can't remember where you put the candles. Good news. There are 51 more times this year we can try for better challah, more timely guests, and found candles. I can't wait for my entire life to line up to take on this ritual. So here I am, trying it on for size. I'll be back next week with a new lesson from Neil, something new on the table with the Gefilteria folks, and I'll have a new dinner guest. See you then. Shabbat Dinner Party is a production of Judaism Unbound. Their executive director is Miriam Terlinchamp, and their senior producer is Joey Taylor. Sound design and mixing by Justin Newton. If you're enjoying this podcast, please share it with a friend or write to me, mishkin@judaismunbound.com. I want to hear your recipes, your guest ideas, and other Shabbat-related thoughts. See you next week.